Hi, I'm Trish. I had a really good question on one of my videos that I made the other day on the one about obesity being a medical condition, where I talk about problems with periods and problems with obesity and the treatments for each and all that sort of thing. A lady called Barb asked me if I had known the problems I was going to have with my lap band, if I would have still had it done. And I can't really answer that because I have nothing to compare it to. I've not been sleeved, I've not been bypassed, so I don't know if they would have been better surgeries for me or if I would have just had a whole different set of problems. You just never know going into it. I could have had absolutely no problems at all with any of those surgeries, or I could have had very bad problems. The reason, and I have made a video before about why I chose the lap band. I, without a doubt, did need some form of weight loss surgery to aid in my treatment because exercising and I don't like the word dieting, but watching what I was eating and making sure that I was eating as healthy as possible wasn't working for me. It would work short term. I believe anyone can lose weight in the short term, but it was never a long-term solution for me. And with the yo-yo dieting, it just over time makes you gain more weight. So I definitely needed something. And this might be surprising, but here comes another analogy. If someone has high cholesterol, a lot of people with high cholesterol, as a treatment, they can just go, okay, well, I'll cut down on saturated fat, I will eat more fibre, I'll eat more oats, I'll eat more of the good fats like olive oil and avocados to reduce my cholesterol. For a lot of people, that's enough. They can just make those changes and maintain those changes and bring their cholesterol down. For other people, no matter how much they change their diet and, get a bit of exercise and do all the right things, their cholesterol is still going to be high. So they then need to take medication as well as watching their diet. So obesity is the same. There are some people, they can just go, right, I'm going to change my life here. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to watch what I eat. I'm going to eat a lot more healthy, and they can get the weight down, they can change their set point, and they can maintain that forever. Other people, like me, obesity is a much more complicated issue for them, so they need to get weight loss surgery. The weight loss surgery isn't a replacement for dieting, or not dieting, but eating well and exercising. You still need to do those things, but the weight loss surgery is a tool to enable you to, I'm not going to say, it doesn't make it easier because you've still got to put all that hard work in. My lap band has never once gotten up and gone to the gym for me. That has never, ever, ever happened. But it helps with the eating side of things. It restricts you. With the lap band, when it works, you can only eat much smaller portions, and there's certain foods that you just can't eat, or and it forces you to eat a lot slower. With sleeving, your stomach is much smaller. You physically can't fit as much food in. With bypass, same thing, very teeny tiny stomach. Plus, I believe with sleeving and definitely with bypass, you can get a dumping syndrome, which is really just a reactive hypoglycemia, wherein if you eat too high carbs or sugars in particular, you get very sick. You're feeling very, very, very unwell, and you can get very bad diarrhea, and I think some people even vomit. So there is that. But also with the bypass, which I consider to be the most serious of all the weight loss surgeries, it's not just restrictive in how much you can eat, but there's also a malnutrition element to it as well, which is why people with weight loss surgeries need to watch that they're getting all their vitamins and minerals in, and quite often people who have been bypassed need to be on B12 forever because of the nature of the surgery. They just can't manage that on their own nutritionally. I will also clarify that I'm not making this video to justify my obesity. I'm not trying to justify why I need treatment. I will not justify that to anyone. That's my condition. It's my choices, my decisions. I'm making this video to educate people, because there are a lot of people out there who don't understand weight loss surgeries, and they come up with incorrect assumptions. You know, like, oh, weight loss surgery, oh, that's the easy way out. You know, okay. If that were the case, it would have a 100% success rate, and it doesn't. You've still got to work hard. Look at me. I've got a lap band in me. I'm 103 kilos. How's that for fail-proof? So I'm making this video in particular to try to, number one, get rid of a bit of the stigma, and educate the ignorance out of people who don't know enough about weight loss surgeries to be making judgments. So I hope it helps. Although, having said that, most likely the only people that will be watching this video are people who have had weight loss surgery or who are looking at weight loss surgery. I doubt there's going to be anyone out there who's running around saying, oh, weight loss surgery, easy way out. Let me go and educate myself on that. But just in case. So, yeah, when I originally got lap banded, I did do a lot of research beforehand. Not on Facebook. I didn't know about the Facebook groups back then, but I was in a really good online community outside of Facebook. And I did do the research, and I did, apart from the fact that the Alfred Hospital was really pushing lap bands, and I think I don't know if they still do, I don't know. Maybe I was part of some secret medical trial to see how lap bands worked in people long term, and in 5 or 10 years' time they're going to backflip and go, oh, well, we put a lot of lap bands in people back, 10, 15 years ago, and it wasn't so shit hot, let's do something else instead. That's the paranoid version. But with all the research I did, I thought lap band for me at the time was probably the best solution, mainly because it's reversible to a degree for most people. And when I say reversible, I know that it can leave permanent scarring on the stomach, but it can be removed. And also because it was adjustable. So I thought that was also a good thing about it. Plus, other than lap band erosion, all of the other potential side effects to me, they were acceptable, like slippage, pouch, occasional vomiting, food getting stuck, that sort of thing. So that's why I chose the lap band, because I also looked into being sleeved. The thought of having probably 3/4 of my stomach cut off, taken out of my body and put in the bin or the incinerator or wherever they put it, that's terrifying in a way, because that's permanent. I can't go back 3 years later and go, well, sleeve's not working so great for me. I'm having a lot of problems with reflux or, whatever. Could I have my stomach back? You can't do that. It's permanent. Plus there's the staple lines can leak. You can end up in hospital for 6 months. It just seemed really risky and really like permanent, but not permanent in a good way. If it had been permanent as in we can give you this surgery, you're not going to have any, there is no chance that you're going to have any complications from this, and it's going to work perfectly forever. That kind of permanence, yes. But permanent and possible complications that couldn't be fixed, no. So that's why I didn't choose the sleeve. And also bypass, it's a very serious surgery, and it can have some really big, really serious complications. And once you've gone bypass, like they say it can be reversed, but it can't always be reversed. Technically they don't remove your stomach, they sort of they cut it off, and but they still leave it in your stomach and they reroute stuff. I'm not going to go into how they do it. It can be reversed, but it's not an easy thing to have done. And bypass with the nutritional deficiencies and having to take that sort of volume of vitamins and minerals and B12 and iron infusions and everything forever, and possible diarrhea forever and dumping syndrome. Bypass just was like straight off the bat was a bit too serious for me. Plus, I also knew, even back then, that for a lot of people, it is a process. You get lap banded and it works for a few years, stops working. Then you get sleeved, works for a while, stops working, and then you go on to bypass and hope that, you know, lasts out your days and that there's no complications anywhere along the line of that. So I didn't want to, I also didn't want to go for bypass straight off the bat, although I did have an awful lot of weight to lose. I didn't want to start with that because if that failed, there was nowhere left for me to go. And likewise with the sleeve, if that didn't work for me, then my only backup was bypass. This way, with the way I've done it, it is a pain in the ass. But it is, you know, that process. Lap band for a while, sleeve for a while, bypass for a while. Hope that either that works or they invent something new. So, I think that pretty much answers that question. I won't really be able to answer it until I have been sleeved and experienced that. And who knows, maybe in 10 years' time I'll be able to give you a video comparison of all three. I don't know. So that's it for now. If anyone's got questions, just leave them in the comments section, and I'll either answer you in the comments or I'll make a video, or I'll do both, like I did with this one.